Okay, my name is Carlos and I come from Spain. Right now, 3 years and a couple of months. I've been here in Bulgaria. To be true, work. And also one previous experience in Romania, where I was a volunteer and I understood a bit of the eastern part of Europe. Sure, like no matter how, I would recommend to be part of any experience abroad, because it's you know, besides of rewarding in some senses, it's also teaching you a lot of stuff, like how to understand other people, other languages, and some stuff that nowadays is more important than ever, I would say, because you don't work anymore in your small city, and it's very important to open a bit your mind for this. Otherwise, you may say like, I don't have a job, but it's because you're in a small city, probably. That's an interesting question, but they reacted. My parents were reacting more negatively, while my friends and colleagues were understanding it a bit better after I shared, for example, my previous experience. And in general, the first time was the most difficult one, but the second or the third already was easier and more, you know, smooth. I've been in Sofia, but I've been also in places like Nesebar, I don't know, Plovdiv, Pernik, around. Well, the differences in the alphabet were not the most, let's say, challenging ones, because for me it was even kind of easy to get used to it as soon as I like also to draw, and I have a kind of good memory for the you know, signs and everything. But it was more challenging in the language itself. It sounded to me completely, I don't know. Not only that, it was not only that I couldn't understand it, but I found that it was too different to reach the point where I can start learning it for real. Mostly after the first courses that I've tried to attend, where yeah, those differences, it was already clear. When I saw that, I don't know, hola was zdrasti and thank you was Bulgaria, it was already a challenge. It is important for everybody, as I said in the previous question. To go abroad is something, you know, fulfilling in a sense. But mostly for young people, it can be even better for them to start doing it already, as soon as possible, because the younger you are, the faster you learn. The easier it is for you to adapt, in a sense, maybe, if you are kind of open-minded. And that will give you something that today is one of the most valuable things. Indeed, I work in a call center, and there you know that the salaries of the people are different depending on the language they speak. So learning any language can give you a big advantage at any point. And nowadays, as I said, being able to open your mind to the whole world and not your single part of Spain, if you're from Spain, your small village or your small city, is very important, because it will open you several doors to, you know, not only to work abroad if you don't want to, but at the end of the day, it's like it will let you understand more things when it comes to, for example, what we spoke about the language, to understand that there are languages that are not even close to yours, to understand that there is people who think about something that you thought before as a norm, not to be a norm anymore, and for you to realize that you can apply those things even in your new life inside Spain if you want to stay there. But this can be also useful to go anywhere else, because you're going to feel more capable to do so. And it's going to be a bit difficult to reply, but you're asking why is it attractive to us to come to the East, for example, and this is something that has to do for a lot of people with the experience. You cannot get as much experience going somewhere that is close to your culture, close to your mentality, and close to your average salary, for example, And you can learn a lot from being in a country where you realize that people behave differently because they live differently. And it has to do with not only the salary, if you think of it, or because of the, the different music that they hear, but also because they simply, they live differently, and from the differences where you learn. From the similar things, you won't learn much. To make the decision of living abroad is not, or wasn't difficult to me. The difficult part to me came afterwards, and still, as I said, it's a learning process, so you learn a lot of things. Personally, the only thing that worries me partly is to regret not to have spent more times with, for example, my parents, because they are old and at some point they will die, and I will be probably here maybe at that point if I continue here, which is something a bit challenging. But it also taught me that, it made me reflect about what is important, who of those people that I met, for example, in Spain is more important and why. And again, thanks to the learning part, I've understood a lot of things and I've realized a lot of things, and nowadays I understand that this is one of the most important parts, which in the beginning, as I said, leaving the country was not a challenge, but staying in another country was more challenging. Leaving a country for me was more like an opportunity to learn, because I like it. Some people wouldn't like it that much, or would prefer to do tourism, which I don't like, for example. But personally, for me the way I enjoy living abroad or traveling or living my country is this way, because I learn more about how people live there. Sorry, and which are the things that can be interesting from there, because in 1 week seeing the beautiful stuff, I feel like almost empty and that I spent a lot of money. There are not many things that shocked me, because at the end of the day we are in Europe and everything is kind of similar in a sense, but well, it shocks me negatively. I'm sorry to say, I'm gonna go to the negative part because it's the one that came to my mind, but it shocked me a bit the way the customer service, for example, works in some particular areas or some particular stores and so on, because Spanish is a tourism place where that should be, let's call it high level, and you should feel appreciated wherever you go. And here the only negative part will be that in some places I didn't feel like really welcome, while I understand, because that was also a good thing. Even those people that in the very beginning didn't welcome me like the way I expect, at some point they turned to be more friendly, and this is also a part of the understanding of the mentality of the people here in Sofia, for example, or in Bulgaria. Like, they may not look as open and friendly as when you go to a bar in Spain, for example, if we speak about, customer support or a simple store. But at some point they accept you, which is great and relieving at some point, and good to know. I'll give an advice for success, and it's about the language. In my case, I was a bit too lazy to start learning it from the beginning, and that's the way it should be done. Because if you want to learn it from, I don't know, at a certain point, you may be already too used to your lifestyle and your way of communicate with with people from here even. I always say that when people tells me like, but you don't speak Bulgarian and so on, and when it's a friend of mine who asks or whatever, yeah, but I say like, but I have charm. And I go with the people, I make some fun, I get their smile or whatever, but that's not good, because at the end of the day you can learn way more things if you start from the beginning trying to understand the language. The language will give you everywhere something interesting. It was there an experiment even, and I'm gonna extend this question a bit, but that was saying that the way you analyze even how a car parks would depend on the country you are, the language that you speak. Some people from Britain may focus more into the action itself, some people from Germany will focus more into the person who is doing it or what she is doing. And at the end of the day, that's what a language, for example, means. And this example is not real, so don't take it very serious, but yeah.